do start things off with pretty standard bans. Focus on the enchanters that are so powerful right now. Yuumi and Karma should never see the light of day, and the Camille is kind of their pick of the litter. The Camille, very powerful in the late game, very powerful in Zhong's hands, won't be seeing the light of day. On the opposite side, it's T1. Kind of interesting to me. They got away with banning full target bans here. The removal of Ashe, Senna, very targeted towards the way that Team Flash like to play their AD carries. The Ashe, of course, also picked up by Coyote, but both those picks really good in the backlines, kind of disconnected from the fight and still contributing to the fight. And then, of course, the Lee Sin, one of Zisu's favorites.
T1 on the back end after seeing the Kazakhs go for the also ever reliable Corki. Good for team fights.
What? Corki? One of our drafts, Mark?
For Corki, man, this... We're slamming the Jace.
And the fact that we see both Jace and Renekton here indicates to me that T1 are looking at a little bit more of those picks. They're looking to find those 2v2s, 3v3 skirmishes against T1. Team Flash have the power with these picks so far to do a ton of damage in split-up team fights, but they are going to lose to T1 so far in straight team fights. T1, with the addition of the Shen, also indicate that they would like more of those 5v5 team fights. The Shen is kind of a crutch for macro play, because you can put him in the side lane and he, of course, can use his ultimate to teleport back to the fight. So you always have free presence on the other side. You can have 4 members of your team looking for a fight, the Shen on the opposite side, for free, being able to join the fight when it gets dangerous.
And the fact that T1 are actively turning away from Zhong as a carry, putting him on something that will facilitate other carries on the side of T1, shows that this isn't going to be a Zhong superstar game. This isn't going to be the Zhong that gets a quadra kill on the Camille, coming in to clean up a team fight. He is empowering someone like JY, or maybe another carry that might come out from Core if this Corki happens to go to BDG instead.
Yeah, and can I hit you with a theory?
Sure.
I think this Corki might be going to BDG instead.
Yeah.
And Core would, in that case, be playing something a little bit more duelist heavy. Which I would like to see. That's been one of my criticisms. You know, we were talking about Core as this incredibly popular in his region carry, and in his region in the WCK Korea, Core was a very aggressive duelist player, someone who could take over games. But very similarly to the other mid laners we've seen who love those duelist picks, who love to challenge people early, that falters against international competition. Regionally, you can be the best mid laner, you can get free gold just farming the enemy laner. Once you're playing against the best mid laners from every other country in the world, it's harder to get those isolated kills.
You're no longer just straight up skill gapping people.
Yeah.
You have to match them in other ways. You have to beat them
It's when you
on
test
the macro
into
level.
the charter school and you're no longer the smartest kid in your class.
Oh, dude.
That hit home for approximately 10% of our audience.
It hit home for me. Team Flash rounding out their composition with some long-range back line damage.
Yeah.
Varus teaming well with the Jace.
This might be AD carry pick in the final rotation here for T1 because I don't like Corki Gragas. So that makes me think, again, this Corki might be shifted over to Core and we might get something else AD carry. Team Flash, this is what we expect. Ali, in contrast to BDG, does not receive a whole lot of focus in his bottom lane. So when you see the Varus, that's an indicator that Team Flash wants something he can play on very far back. And MT will leave that lane, roam with the rest of the team, Braum works very well with Renekton, who's very also attack focused. So if you get a mark on somebody, the Renekton gets in close range, he slices, he dices, he chops, and somebody gets instantly stunned by the Braum passive.
Just like a fruit. Boom. Orianna
Sure.
locked in for core. This is very much all team fight.
Might be BDG Orianna. I don't know.
I guess it could go either way.
Yeah.
So if BDG is the one that ends up piloting the Orianna, it is a lot easier for Penguin to feel confident to roam outside of the lane, be able to sync up with JY, look for advantages, look for some skirmishes. The thing I'm a little concerned about is...
I've got you.
You're...
Feels weird in Averos, right?
Yeah!
That's where I'm at too, Mark!
And the other thing, too, is that it's Renekton Jace, some of the
True.
most powerful early lane bullies in. And if you take a look back at Team Flash's dominant grand final victory over Flash Wolves, that was exactly the playbook. Just overwhelmed them during the early game with powerful skirmishes. And by the time Flash Wolves got to the point where they would be comfortable with their mid-late game team fights, they were down 5,000, 6,000 plus gold.
So here we go. Game number 1, Mark, of a best-of-3 series. Winner qualifies for the group stage. Loser goes home.
Not like this, TJ.
And get on an airplane. You're going home.
For T1 to have come so far, it would not be ideal. They want to show more for Korea, who is running out of seeds for the region.
I mean, they lost one of their 3 teams, but those are the expectations for Korea. We expected all 3 WCK teams to continue. It's worth noting as well, T1, one of the very few remaining play-ins teams. Not the best team out of the region, that is to say. They qualified through plans, worked for their slot.
So far, a quiet early game. No incredibly insane playmaking from Team Flash, but with something like a Kha'Zix, you do want a couple more levels before we start seeing some early skirmishes around the Scuttle Crab. Maybe.
So our early picks are going to be, yes, around the Scuttle Crab, but also coming through our jungler for T1. If there is any early action, it will come from JY, trying to find kills early on. We've seen this a lot from Jax. As we mentioned during the draft, he's, ate the honey fruit, keeps core alive.
And Coyote even
steals the last fruit!
Yeah,
that's 15 gold, Mark!
Coyote threatening core off of the last honey fruit as well. The expectations that we had in this mid lane matchup, you saw the hype videos as well. Coyote, after the rest of Team Flash having what fans would consider a disappointing performance against Nova Esports, they are ready to show that they deserve to be in the knockout stage.
Yeah, Nova Esports, one of the best teams in the world. And the way they took apart Team Flash, I'll hold this thought, the way they took apart Team Flash was by shutting down Zissou during the early game, which is why I was talking about JY. If JY can take over the game early on Jax, get into lanes and start fights, as we've seen Jax players do. No, he doesn't have a ton of damage early, but he does that big AoE counter-strike, which will stun people and set up for kills. So that's his dream. Get into lanes early, disrupt not only Zissou's own jungling, stop Zissou from, doing this, stealing away gold, getting bigger, but also stop Coyote from feeling like he can control the map and roam out of that mid lane, as he is so good at doing. So far, Mark, not enough. JY sitting in his own jungle trying to reclaim some gold. Zissou's stolen away his rock collection. Coyote has forced core to reset early and has a gold lead in the middle of the map. Yeah, he took his geodes, and then his buddy stole his friend's fruit.
Just trying to pick up the last apple. It's like, hold up. Just snatching it off the top
Guy
of the shelf.
leans over to your plate in a restaurant and says, "Don't mind if I do."
Hey, I was saving that.
Too bad.
The T1 is playing a very defensive game. And last time that they played against Team Flash, that was how Team Flash were able to just bypass the early game and ensure that T1 had no way to be able to respond.
Aggression here on the bottom side. Good shockwave from BDG. He saves that until the Glacial Fissure is spent. He saves that until Empty is looking for the fight. Spends the Shockwave just to pull Ellie and Empty back. The downside, though, is he has no mana now. So BDG has to run And here comes the rest of Team Flash.
Down an ultimate means that BDG knows there's no way that they can contest the 2v4, even with the explosive cast from Penguin. So it's seeding pressure, and with the turret resistances dropped, Team Flash very clinical on trying to take this turret down as fast as possible.
At the 4-minute mark into your game, the turrets suddenly are much easier to take down. The kind of early game armor they have vanishes. And you can see Team Flash very aware of that. Go for an aggressive play down bottom through empty. When it works out, the entire team rotates down and takes the turret, does 2 plates worth of damage. That's a lot of gold going over to them.
And Team 1, maybe there was questions about if they had a plan for being able to withstand the early game. They haven't lost first brick yet, but it's already quite the blow from Team Flash as they set up for the Dragon.
First objectives on the board. T1 looking to force their first 5v5. We talked about how good this team is in team fights. That is still true. And they're not down too badly in gold, only about 1,500. So they want to stop this kind of poke game, get into range and start a fight with big stuns, and amped up JY leading the fray. Their targets in the fight, Ellie and Coyote. They want to get onto those backline players and stun them, force them to retreat. T1 are hoping this will happen around these first objectives, so they can reverse this slow bleed of gold that Team Flash are enforcing on them.
One of the things that's nice for T1, they have the package, so they can separate members from T1. They've already secured the Rift Tower on the other side. They have to commit to a fight now. Stand United from Jong is going to keep JY healthy as they all commit. Dragon will be secured by JY, but can they get out? T1, they've got routing off from Zissou, who decides to now go to the mid lane and take advantage of the fact that they cannot defend the mid turret.
So, Drake over to T1, mid turret picked up, first break to Team Flash, and they're going to get more. If you look up in that top lane, that bottom lane, they're both being sieged simultaneously. Shy will step forward here. That's going to be a second turret, very likely picked up by Team Flash, meaning that the gold lead is exploding. 4,000 gold advantage now over to Team Flash. T1 unable to force the fight.
John can't get in range for that taunt. T1 here have to be careful now because that outer turn on the bottom side of the map is going to be Team Flash's next primary objective.
And you can see the difference in the two team philosophies here. T1, a team that is all about that 5v5 team fight. They bring all their forces in to fight that dragon. Team Flash don't try to take it away from them. They poke, they prod, the Jason Power and Shock Blasts are going in, dropping the HP and numbers. They almost get JY, but that's a bonus. They don't really need to take the fight there. In fact, that's the worst case scenario for them. So they're poking and trying to make it uncomfortable while they gain control of the rest of the map.
Classic poke and siege composition from Team Flash as T1 getting aggressive under the tower, gets Shy's ultimate out, but now reinforcements from Team Flash are in pursuit. No tower to defend them. It's the flash committal from Team Flash's support empty. Glacial Fissure knocks up all 3, and now the rest of T1
Here comes
are
BDG.
sent asunder. A flash from Penguin still getting stunned as the piercing arrow connects. It's a triple for Shy, looking for more, but BDG buys enough space to get out and trades one back.
Empty. Getting too greedy, walks underneath the turret. BDG's self-shield, the command protect, calling the Orianna Bowl back onto his shoulders, gives him like 10 more HP. And he survives as a result of it. T1, losing a lot of gold there though.
6,000 as now the deficit for T1. Team Flash have such a great advantage point to work with as we approach the mid game.
And that was the big test for them, because the problem with these pick compositions is that eventually you have to team fight. So during the first 10 minutes of the game, you need to earn enough of a gold lead that you can win the team fight even though you're disadvantaged in it. Team Flash did a great job picking apart the map, and then here they spot an opportunity to hammer some nails into the coffin. Low HP members in the top side, they get an isolated 3v3, and this will start snowballing the gold lead such that in these future team fights, even though Team Flash have a better composition, or even though T1 have a better composition, Team Flash will have bigger wallets. Look at this. Command protect. It's literally the amount of HP by which he survives.
Jong, this is not looking rough. This is looking awful. Oh man, Shy just absolutely destroying him in the 1v1.
Second time he's done that in recent memory. Still shoving in this lane. The advantage of the Renekton into the Shen. You're so big, you clear waves so quickly. If Jong ever teleports away from lane, he's gonna lose like a whole nother turret.
And it's just gonna be the gold lead snowballing even further and further for Team Flash. T1 have to find a way to stop the bleeding, to stop this gold lead from spiraling out of control, but there's no way that they can regain it.
Yeah, because at this point you can see Team Flash are spoiling for a fight, right? They're bringing all 5 members in to steal away the red buff. They're saying, come fight us, I dare you, because they know they win. So T1 needs to do what their composition is not designed to do, and earn back some gold on the map separately, and wait until Team Flash make a mistake through which they can get an advantaged fight. That's the only way to break this kind of gold skew.
Core is able to get some chip damage onto the turret. I don't think it's going to be enough to knock it down, as Shy is here to protect it. Penguin and JY are committed to secure the turret gold on the side of Team 1.
Baby.
But now Team Flash are chasing them down. Good
Stand
cask
back
from Penguin.
This road's closed. Explosive cask clearing the way. T1, I think, will be able to get away. Good chain of corruption.
PDG still on the run here. There's flashes available from both T1 and Team Flash. Just the pressure alone of Team Flash chasing them all the way to the outer rims of the base is terrifying.
It's like a Mad Max movie. T1 running for their lives through the canyons while shock blasts pursue them. But they do get away with it. You know, heist complete. They got into the bottom lane, they grabbed a turret, used the explosive cast, very good explosive cast from Penguin, who's been a very good support player this tournament. Closes the road, makes sure Team Flash aren't within engagement range. And so T1 get a little bit of gold back. Now, unfortunately...
Does it make up the 6,000? That's the question.
Yeah. I'm doing some quick math. You know, caster math, unreliable. I'm doing some math, though, and no.
Right now, Team Flash have complete control of the mid lane, so there's no way that they can check into the Dragon, and Penguin is on the run. Stand United forced out of Jong. The damage comes through before Jong can join the party. Package is now forced from Core. They're going to try to get a punish right on back, but Shockwave misses. Ooh. And Shy, don't tell me he gets out of this one. Shy flashing forward, making sure that he can clean up the kill, but Empty with the quick moves. Stand behind me, right back to Ellie, and he's got Coyote in his back pocket to get him out safely.
Team Flash defending T1's side of the map. Oh, managed to win the fight. Jaejong will find the kill on the opposite side and set the cost of the inhibitor as here comes Team Flash.
Oh God, the base is about to be broken open at 11.5 minutes here, TJ.
Stolly Seajar leaves behind some honey fruit, courtesy of Empty.
That feels like BM.
You know what that feels like, BM? Because it 100% is.
All right, we still going though, TJ. Coyote deep into the back line, already eliminating Core. Penguin sure to be next. Just one more shock blast, flashing forward. Coyote will pay for it, but he's ready to style on T1 and show why they are the dominant ones in this series.
Ellie kiting here, JY.
Okay. Wait, hold up. Wait, JY's picking up a lot of kills in these back skirmishes.
He cleaned up the fight around the Baron pit, and now he finds 2 more, shutting down Ellie and Empty. And that's starting to make things scary. T1, through the power of JY, can enable him with Shen, with Orianna, and maybe that's their window into a fight. He's got 10k in the bank, as much as anyone over on Team Flash.
JY, you are suddenly now the hope for T1 at this point. You are the one with the most gold in your back pocket. He's going to find a way to use that to as much use as possible. But an Elder Dragon is spawning in the next 3 minutes, and at that time, if JY is not online as much as he can, we're going to see more stuff like this.
Yeah. Here's Coyote, though, out of position. And Penguin, like, splits the fight. This is the kind of fight you win if you're not down as much gold as you are. Instead, Coyote flashes forward to find the kill, does get caught out, punished for it. But ridiculous stuff. Here's JY saying, this is ridiculous as well. Ellie, why are you standing here? Takes one look at the map.
Jax.
Takes advantage.
Off of that back, he completed his Death Stance and just bought a straight-up Blade of the Rune King. So JY is actually now, he's in Giga Chad status.
Incredible amount of gold. It's like 4,000 gold off of those kills.
Quite the surplus there. However, Core, that's not the surplus that he was looking for.
No, you can't be walking up to bushes like that. That's mispositioning. That's bad map movement in a way that doesn't get punished unless you're playing against the best teams in the world. But Team Flash know he's in the bottom side. They stack the bush right in front of them.
I love this from JY, though. JY just immediately punishing Coyote, overextending.
They're starting Baron.
This is going to give a Baron opportunity, though, for Team Flash, and there's no one that can compete unless BDG gets a Miracle Shockwave, but the explosive cast, not enough. Zisu's got the smite. Team Flash with the Baron.
I think Jaejong is okay with this. They reckon they can defend here, and the waves are pretty far shoved forward, so Team Flash still with advantage in this game, but this Baron now feels a little dangerous, Mark, because if they don't finish on this Baron push, then T1 are going to scale back into their team fight. So, that timer on the left of your screen, 1:30, is about as much time as Team Flash have to force a major team fight and win.
It doesn't seem like the Elder Dragon is going to be up by the time the Baron buff X. So, for here, Team Flash, this is the moment where they need to use the Baron buff to the most potential. Otherwise, as you said, T1, even though they took the late game team fighting composition and they were kind of getting smacked around in the early game, we're getting to the point where all the early game does not matter anymore.
We're getting there. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
The only person who's kind of avoided that early game curse at this point is JY, a little bit BDG. BDG is going to be coming on these team fights, so BDG needs to be protected, JY needs to be enabled. JY looking to get onto those backlines to shut down Coyote and Ellie in particular, who are doing the vast majority of Team Flash's damage. Here we go, one team fight to rule them all. T1 on their last stand, looking for Ellie.
Shockwave connects, half of his HP is rewarded. The rest of T1 are going to need a little bit more to take out this Archer.
And this is scary. Team Flash playing it very well, sieging both remaining inhibitors.
Woo! That's the ultimate out of Zisu. Jong, 50% of his HP is costed, but he's got the fountain to heal back on up. I don't think if this will be enough time.
Vulnerable.
Oh, maybe it is. But BDG's back on defense tower duty.
And so the Baron expires at the exact same time as the Elder spawns. Team Flash got one turret in total from that. Not what they were hoping for, but they reckon they can win if only they convert on this Elder. T1 are going to have their best odds so far in this upcoming team fight. Team Flash will have to fight them 5v5.
Package also picked up. If there's a moment, a fight that T1 could win and take back the game, it is now.
It comes down to Core landing a huge package, BDG and JY accessing the backline with their damage. Team Flash, frankly, I'm at the point where I start advising them to avoid this team fight. It is scary. They should be looking to see what they can get done in the side lanes. You see that up top, where Jaejong is being forced to deal with the presence of Coyote.
And it's good awareness from Team Flash to not just hastily engage the Dragon. They have control of the pit right now. T1 are the ones that are forced to enter. So as long as they just maintain this choke point, they can't get in.
They're waiting for T1 to make a mistake. T1 clearing this so carefully, getting poked at the entire time, but that's doing less damage than ever before this game. Those arrows from Ellie now doing, tenths of JY's HP as opposed to entire halves of it.
Don't leave BDG alone. Zisu's waiting around the corner. It's just the blue buff being stolen away,
but the blue buff
package has been committed on the top side of the map. They make the pick onto Coyote, and now it's a 5-on-4. And Team Flash don't immediately start the Dragon.
5v4 on the map. Team Flash not on the Elder Dragon. Baron coming up in 8 seconds. T1 have done it, Mark. I don't know what that shockwave was. That might be a huge mistake. It's going to be down.
Oh, God.
If they force a team fight, it's without the massive Orianna ultimate.
The copium angle is that Team Flash did not see the shockwave go off.
True.
So they don't know. And as long as T1 just play it cool, Team Flash will start the Dragon.
I think that cancels their team fight. I don't know what happened for BDG. But I don't think they can team fight now without the shockwave. JY's going to look anyway. They think they have an isolated player.
JY.
It's a trap.
The bait!
Shen!
But he's bringing the Shen with him. Jong onto the back line, but the taunt does not connect onto Ellie. Core follows up. Renekton is golden. Shy taking as much as he can. JY's going golden. The GA is popped. Rest of Shy is on the retreat. Teleport is coming in from Coyote here to provide assistance.
Team 5 win for T1. Not a clean one. They don't get any kills, but they force Team Flash off of an advantage position, drag them back on the map.
Big thing though for T1, JY, the big carry here, his GA is now gone, so he cannot act as aggressively as he would like to in the next fight.
I didn't consider how fast BDG's shockwave cooldown is at this point. Maybe he can just do that. Because it's back. You saw that team fight? It's back already.
Yep. T1 still have to deal with how to maneuver around this Elder Dragon that Team Flash still have control over. But you're right, TJ. T1, they're getting closer and closer to the point where they can match them.
And part of that is that Core now has real damage in the backlines of this fight. He is able to provide that sustained burn. And Team Flash know this. They know this game is spiraling out of control. So they're beginning to poke and prod at this Elder, trying to bait T1 into a disadvantaged fight, trying to maybe sneak and see what they can do to change these odds as T1 just continue to run the clock.
T1 finding ways to get back into the river. There's absolutely no vision whatsoever available to them. Chain of Corruptions lands onto BDG, flashing away from a piercing arrow. Could have been BDG's last life in this game. Zissou hopping forward, flashed out, and now the rest of T1, it's the shockwave that connects onto the back line.
Huge taunt!
Huge taunt onto the front line as well, stunning it up. Shy's GA is the reward for T1, but they have to back off.
They disengaged. Team Flash run the map for this time. They did burn GA, nothing else. Team Flash will start the Elder.
Package is
T1
available.
will be back with the package in this fight. Here comes JY running through the darkness towards this Baron. 4,000 HP.
3,000.
Here we go.
JY is crashing forward. Can he get in range? It is secured by Shy. Team Flash has it. The package is in there. Zissou hopping for his life. Ton of damage from the backside onto T1, but they're still pushing forward. Team Flash walk away with the Elder.
4v5 on the map. Team Flash get the Elder, but they're down a man for 40 seconds. T1 turn immediately towards this Baron.
They have to take it. 5-on-3 now. Penguin,
LA!
oh, huge kick onto Ellie. Shockwave
Shockwave!
connects. JY is able to capitalize, and now it's suddenly a 5-on-2. You have to go for the Baron.
Coyote has to contest as well. Here he comes, joined by Zissou. That's enough to scare C1 back for now. Redemption tops them back up. Huge wave of the sidelines. Took the inhibitor during this time. C1 starting the Baron. No! Zoned back by Zissou again.
Another
comes
teleport
JY.
coming in. JY is back on the map. And now the rest of T1, they have to position once again for this Baron.
20 seconds on Ellie's respawn, so they still have time to work with. They're looking for the pick onto Zissou, which would make this Baron free. They know, T1 know, if they lose a single team fight at this point, the game is over. But the work they have done to run out this clock means that the same is true for Team Flash now, Mark. This game is 50-50, and it all comes down to a single team fight.
And if T1 can stall enough for the next 30 seconds, JY's GA is coming back up. It seemed like an eternity ago when he made the fight over the Elder Dragon wall, flashing forward onto 4 people with that taunt and Jong delivery system, and now it is back up again.
It is back up again. It is also worth mentioning the Elder Drake that did go over to Team Flash is not nothing. That is a significant buff for them, but it's only going to really matter on 2 members. Shy, who is occupying the front lines, and Zissou, who's jumping in and out of the fight. The bonus regen and the bonus damage will help Zissou a lot. He is one of the few remaining members of this team that is doing consistent damage in the team fights. Everyone else is getting outscaled by time here. C1 do win the team fight by default, and it's going to need to be an incredible play from Team Flash, specifically those 2 players, Shy and Zissou, getting onto the backlines, killing Core, killing BDG in order to win this fight.
And watch how Team Flash now taking their time before they set up for the next objective on the Baron. They have Coyote splitting on the bottom side of the map, forcing Jong to respond, setting up waves on the top side of the map as well, because that inhibitor being open now means that there's permanent super minions that is calling the attention of Team Flash.
A permanent debuff, which T1's been dealing with for like 10 minutes at this point, Mark. T1, a masterclass in Korean Wild Rift, I must say. They drafted a team fight comp, didn't have the opportunity to win the team fights in the mid-game, so they just said, we're going to keep running out the clock, we're going to keep spending time on this Rift until we have a fair team fight, and I think they've done it.
Hold up, Shockwave, it connects onto Ellie. It gets the Proto Belt out. He won't have that available. He still has both Summoner spells up on Flash and Exhaust. T1 looking to capitalize that the next time the ultimate is up.
Team Flash here, the second Vietnamese team to ever grace the international stage. The first one kind of fell apart. SBTC unable to perform up to the expectations of their region at the Horizon Cup. Team Flash potentially the second Vietnamese WCS team to underperform internationally. And you have to wonder at moments like this if they know that.
For Team Flash, you got to keep it cool. Look for opportunities like this. Jong managing to escape barely with his flash.
JY knows where Zissou is. JY knows where Coyote is, and he is hunting.
He's got flash.
Speed
He
boost
can
by
look for it,
BDG.
forcing the stasis out. Jong is back in the ring, tags in, stand united. But Zissou gets out with the ultimate. Can't say the same about Coyote, but now look at Team
Push
Flash.
down mid.
They're barreling
Push
down the
down
mid
mid
lane.
lane.
Stop the
Here comes
recalls.
Ellie.
There's no way. Ellie, he can just take the Nexus as long as he gets time, but T1 gets back
Half
immediately.
HP.
Shine,
Shines in.
committing everything. 1,000 HP, 700.
Here
That's
goes
it.
it.
Team Flash almost on the brink of a reverse upset. They clinch game one.
What was that game, Mark?
Holy!
Team Flash, where was the aggression we have come to know from this team? It feels like they get out on a technicality. As T1 leave a slip up, and for 1 second there's an open gap. Ellie and Shy spot it, make a beeline down the middle of the map, and steal away what
over other objectives. But you take a look at that mountain that T1 had to climb and then come back down and then unfortunately fall a little short here. It felt like, as you said, Team Flash had a draft that they could execute, had the power, and it played out that way, except towards ending the game. T1 did such a great job defending their towers, holding on to at least one, and until eventually the inhib did break, that led to this TP play here. We saw a couple of sombreros, as we like to call it, from Oriana, BDG, whiffing a couple of those, one off screen where no one saw from Team Flash, one in a team fight earlier. Maybe a couple of those would have helped T1 snowball it, and thank goodness for Team Flash it didn't happen. Ellie had to get the proto belt to continue to create space for himself, but there was a lot of intricacy as the game got later. It feels a lot of the time when we get to late game situations here in Icons, it feels like